And Cami, hello, because I haven't said a proper hello to you today. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing okay. Yeah, I haven't said really hello to you either. How are you doing?
Yeah, we've been trying to get this live sorted out, haven't we?
Yes. Yeah, that's just been the whole day. I guess your whole morning. I've been doing it all day.
Right.
Because
Yeah,
it's nighttime.
It's Sunday morning for me.
Right.
Oh, Gina's in Washington. Hi, Gina.
Yes. Yeah, everyone
Richard,
comment where you're from.
yeah, we'd love to know. So Richard's in Brazil, British living in Brazil.
Oh, very cool.
So
One of
it
your
must
British
be...
brethren.
Is that what we have to do when we say British?
Yes. I don't know. This is more the brethren. It's so late though in Brazil. It's midnight. Oh my goodness. Thank you for hanging out with us.
Thanks for joining.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Everyone is so supportive. So because it is tea time, Nick, what kind of tea are you having? Cheers, by the way.
Cheers. I'm having peppermint tea.
Oh, lovely.
I don't drink normal tea.
But you're British. What?
Yeah, I know. That's always the reaction I get. Yeah.
Oh no. Oh, okay. Yeah, I made a London fog. Do you know what a London fog is?
No.
It's a tea latte. So it is. I don't know what kind of black tea. I don't know, with steamed milk and vanilla. So it's really good. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, hey, Jonathan, what's up? Study English with JJ. Our favorite, not safe for work. And my husband joined. Oh, thank you, sweetie.
Hey.
He's in our car right now on his way to Oklahoma.
Not driving.
No, he's not, thankfully, because then I wouldn't have a car for the weekend. So
sure.
I need the car. Yeah. But yeah, so we got some hearts from some people. Cami, where are thanks, Frank. Okay.
Gina's down with the London Fog's tea. She loves it with coconut milk.
Yes. Oh, nice. Of course she does. Oh, and then my husband's friend, who's also in the car with him, is also joined. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.
A lot of my friends are back in the UK, and it's like 3 o'clock in the morning, so they're not as dedicated as your friends.
Right. Well, I mean, for my mom, it's 7 at night. Like, I hope that she can show up, and for yeah. Hey, Emmanuel.
I feel like I need to invest in a new mug. This is the mug that came with the place that I'm staying in, and it's pretty soulless. Can anyone suggest a mug or a place that I can buy mugs? I'd really appreciate that, because yours looks... You've got 2.
I do, yeah. I accidentally made too much tea, so I made 2. Go to Starbucks. Get the You Are Here. We have one from New Orleans, and then Harry Potter from Japan.
I thought that might be Harry Potter-y. Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of my thing, you know.
Oh, they all have Harry Potter. I see. Right. Okay.
You didn't know that right away?
No, I don't think I did. Well, this leads us in quite nicely, actually.
Yes.
Because the other day I was chatting to. So I'm in Thailand. For anyone who doesn't know, I'm in Bangkok. And I went out for dinner with some people. It was a mix of nationalities. One was Russian and 3 Thai people. And the Thai people said to me, your accent's a bit strange. And I was like, oh, really? And they said, yeah, it's not like a classic British accent. And I was like, that's strange, because I would class myself as having a very standard British accent, like southern.
That's what I would assume as well. Yeah, like. And they
said, yeah, but it doesn't sound like Harry Potter.
Oh, so how is where is your British accent from? So I guess, like, let's talk about where our specific accents are from, because obviously in the UK there are a multitude of accents, same in the United States. So what about yours?
Right, so I'm from the south of the UK, from a little island down south called Guernsey. And Guernsey has quite a specific accent. People talk a bit like that. It's very kind of mangled and mixed, almost a bit South African and a bit kind of West Country English, if you know that. But my family are not from there. So I kind of picked it up a little when I was younger, but it got drilled out of me. So I have this very, very neutral Southern British accent, kind of home counties, we would call it. Counties around London, yeah.
Yeah.
How about you?
Makes sense. So I'm from Seattle, Seattle, Washington, not Washington, D.C. A lot of people, when they hear Washington, they're like, oh, cool. Have you seen the White House? No, I'm on the other side of the country. So, yeah, I'm from the northwest of the United States. It's very close to Canada. So my accent is kind of similar to like a BC, British Columbian accent. And what's funny is in Seattle and in our region or in the Northwest, we believe that we have the most neutral English accent of them all, and that we pronounce things in their truest form. So I don't know. We do have some different idiosyncrasies with our accents, like important, kitten, button, and stuff. But now that I'm living in Texas, I definitely have picked up a few little Southern accent things, like y'all. I can't stop saying y'all. It's cute, it's inclusive, and I like it.
Can you give us an example of when you might say y'all?
I mean, everyone, someone is joining from India. So that's very cool. Yeah, hello in India. And so for y'all, just talking about anyone, like thank y'all for joining us. How are y'all doing today? And y'all can mean singular one, or like you, as in, you know, you plural for a whole group of people. And yeah, you can use y'all in any sort of way.
Did you start doing this ironically and then it's become a part of how you speak, or it just happened?
So when I first moved here, I had to just get a job. It was before I started teaching English online, because I had taught English for 5 years prior in Korea, and so I worked at a large animal veterinary clinic. So we dealt with cows, horses, and all that kind of stuff.
That was going to be my next question. Was the clinic large or the animals were large? Or both?
The clinic was quite small. Somehow they fit cows and horses in the back. There were a lot of barns, but the clinic itself was small. Okay. Yeah. Hello from Brazil again.
Really?
And or hello in Brazil, not from Brazil. I'm not from there, but most of the clients were farmers, and in a rural kind of farming community, everyone knows each other, everyone sounds the same and has the same kind of accent. And so when I came in with my little Seattle accent, Frank, you're not from North Korea. Stop. So when I came in with my Seattle accent, people didn't want to talk to me. Like on the phone, they would literally say, can I please be transferred to the other receptionist? Because they didn't trust my accent. And so I had to fake a Texan accent when I worked there. Like, try to listen to how my coworkers and how the clientele spoke. And after, a few months, I was like, how y'all doing today? So welcome to the veterinary clinic. That weather's real bad, ain't it? And so that's what I had to do to fit in. So what about you? Like, you have lived all over the world. Have you ever had to, where have you lived? And have you had to change the way you speak for those different places?
Definitely. Yeah, I feel like I've had to slow down and grade my language. Whether obviously I do that when I'm in class and when I'm with students.
Yeah.
If I'm teaching lower level students, then I have to, you know, think about how I'm speaking. But generally, like like I worked in Colombia, for example, or say I worked in Morocco. I don't speak any Arabic. I do speak some French, and so some stuff was done in French, but then a lot of stuff was done in English. So I was talking to people whose English maybe wasn't fantastic, and but no, I had zero Arabic, so we're trying to get by. And so generally, I find myself speaking a lot slower and a lot clearer than when I'm back home in the UK, and then I'm with my friends or I'm with people who can really click into to what I'm saying very quickly, and I find myself speeding up, using lots more idiomatic language, and I guess kind of swallowing sounds, swallowing words, just really kind of pushing sounds together that I think would be difficult to understand in other contexts. When I first started working in South Korea, really for the majority of my time there, I taught kindergarten. And the kids made fun of how I pronounced kindergarten because I don't say kindergarten. It's kind of an accent thing. Kindergarten, like I said before, kitten. They always made fun of me. What were they expecting you to say? Kitten.
Kitten. Yeah, kitten. Do you say kitten or kitten?
Kitten.
Oh, thank you. Okay, awesome. So, yeah, I was simplifying my language and in some situations speaking in a way that was maybe grammatically incorrect, just to try and get these kids that were, you know, first-year learners to be able to understand a few basic commands and stuff. And that was mostly in my first year. After that, I realized, no, I don't need to simplify for the kids. They'll pick it up anyways. But I remember going home to visit my mom after my first year in Korea. She was like, you're talking differently. This is weird.
Holding up kittens for you and saying, tell me what this animal is.
No, just like my grammar, because in my first year of teaching, I thought maybe I have to simplify for my kids. So I was taking out articles, so I wasn't using the and with some verbs, I was just using their basic form, just because my students were having a hard time understanding, which is really because the teaching practices at that school weren't good. But I had to change the way that I spoke. And then with my husband, English isn't his first language, and at first I would have to simplify some things, like when we were dating and stuff. I would have to simplify my sentences. Now he's fine. He's almost finished his PhD here.
Dinner.
No, I had to. Well, I didn't pay every time. We combined our money on a debit card or something, and I had to use the card. He would always hand it to me and then walk out of the restaurant. That's his style. Okay. So, yeah, no, he didn't pay.
So looking, sorry, go on.
Oh yeah, no, go ahead.
I was going to say, so looking back on teaching those kindergarten kids in Korea, would you go back and do that differently now? Like, would you use grammatically correct language?
Yes. So I would say after my first year, I learned a lot, and I also realized, well, for my first year, I taught like 5 and 6-year-olds. In Korea, they have a different age system, so I taught 5 and 6-year-olds. And then in my second year, I taught 4-year-olds, 3 and 4-year-olds. And from that experience, I realized that little kids pick up language so quickly. You don't have to simplify it for them. They're going to get it. Because I had these kids that were speaking English almost fluently, you know, for a 3-year-old. And after that, I stopped speaking to the children in a simplified way. And they also liked to be spoken to as though they were adults.
Yeah.
And now my teaching philosophy is that I don't simplify. I speak to people, you know, I'll change my pace a little bit and maybe change the vocabulary, but I will only say things in a way that's grammatically correct and try to use things that are phrases and stuff that are normal for English conversation. So, I want people to be prepared.
The danger of simplifying it down so it's something that's unnatural is that then students will hear us talking and think, oh, that's correct English.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right. What was I going to ask you about? Oh yeah, coming back to kittens and kittens. And you did a myth busting thing recently, didn't you, on one of your reels? What was your myth busting thing? Can you remind me?
Was it on a reel? I don't remember. I did a YouTube video, which I also uploaded onto my podcast channel, Unfiltered English Corner. Check it out. But did I do? Yeah. Oh, yeah. So the reel was kind of like an introduction to, or like a little promo about the. Okay, bye, Frank. See you later. Okay.
Cheers, Frank.
So yeah, the Instagram reel was sort of a promo for my podcast episode, and in that I talked about a lot of things that I've seen on Instagram from a lot of the teachers and stuff and English educators. I do this because I feel like a lot of them actually don't have the qualifications to teach, as in, you know, teaching qualifications and real in-person experience. But yeah, there's so many things online about only speaking in formal English, and these things that are giving just strange examples for stuff that's not normal at all. And so that's what I went on and on about in the podcast YouTube video thing. So
So when we were talking about kitten just before, that I think that the reason I kind of went, you know, you can say kitten however you want. If you say kitten or kitten, it doesn't matter. People will know what you're talking about, right? So it doesn't matter whether you drop your T or keep your T there. But I think what gets me a bit is I see quite a lot of posts on Instagram, and students often say to me, oh, I know that in British English people say water or kitten, and in American English people say water and kitten.
Oh, that's so weird coming from you. Water.
Hey, buddy, could you get me some water for my kitten?
Oh, wow. Yeah, it doesn't fit. My British English is not good. Can you get me some water for my kitten? I don't know. I can't do it. It's not good.
Cheers, Frank. See you later.
Yeah. Hi, Maria. Welcome.
Yeah. Where are you?
Yeah. So if you've joined us, recently joined, tell us where you're from in the comment section. So yeah, have you had students that have asked you specifically to teach them your accent? or even to teach them another accent.
Yeah, I've had quite a lot of students say, "Oh, I want to be able to speak like you,"
Right?
Because you have a proper British accent or a proper English accent,
Right?
And I suppose then that leads us back to what is a proper British accent. So I'm from kind of the south of the UK. You're from Seattle.
Yeah.
But as you said before, we've got hundreds of accents in the UK and very different accents as well. If anyone's been to the UK, then you might have heard accents from Liverpool, from Manchester, from Newcastle, Scottish accents, Northern Irish accents, and plenty more. And they're all very different. And they're all correct British accents, right? They're all valid British accents. It just happens to be that my one is the one that's often on like audio CDs for like student books. And I've actually been asked like by a few different people, am I the person who does the voices on the Cambridge exams? And I was like, well,
you have this kind of voice.
Apparently
I
so.
Yeah.
I was flattered, but I said, no, it's not me. So if anyone's wondering, it's not me.
Not you. Yeah. I'm going to add some more light. Ooh, that's bright. I have been asked if I've ever done audiobooks, or I've been told that I should be on the news because how I speak, I just naturally do a lot of exaggerated intonation, and I'm very animated when I speak. And so like when I was teaching, teachers would walk by the room and be like, "Oh, I thought you were listening to a voice recording or something," because I speak so in such an animated way with the tone of my voice.
Which I think is really good as a teacher. You know, you don't want to have a flat, boring, or not even as a teacher, just in general life. It's nice to listen to someone with an interesting voice, and it is someone with quite a flat tone. Yeah, and
that's actually something that I do with my students. Like when we do some pronunciation practice, I will sometimes have them listen and repeat, and I'll do an overly exaggerated way to say it, and then they're able to hear, okay, here's how I should have the intonation and fluctuations in it. So
tell us a bit more about your pronunciation classes and how you do pronunciation.
So in general, with my pronunciation, if I have a student that wants some specific pronunciation help, we will read an article. I really like using Ingo, and I have them read it out loud, just one paragraph at a time, and then we'll go through and like pinpoint all the little ways to make it sound more fluent and more natural, and fix pronunciation if some of it was just incorrect. And I find that a lot of students, they know what the sound is. They are aware of what they should be doing, but physically they have a hard time shaping the sounds, especially for my students in Asia. The L and R is really hard. In Korean, B, P, F, and V, and I think in Japanese, I'm not 100% sure, it's one letter in their alphabet, in their phonetic alphabet. And so a lot of them have a hard time remembering the difference. And so I like to take almost a speech pathology approach to it. So we'll really look at the shape of our mouth. So I get real close to the camera and I'm like, okay, here's how we move our mouth for it. And, gotta check my teeth beforehand, always, because I'll get very close and we'll work on these shapes that we have to make. Because a lot of it is physical, just remembering that muscle memory. And what about you if a student is asking you for pronunciation help? Do you ever focus on that with them?
Yeah, I mean, I work with a lot of Chinese students, and that l r difference does come up quite regularly. And as you say, muscle memory is super important. So it's looking, it's trying to get them producing different words, like very similar words. And looking at the differences. And as you say, like actually thinking about mouth position, tongue position is super important. And then trying to, because it's one thing working on it, but then as soon as you move on to another topic, then it's often forgotten. So it's reminding, and when they do get it right, okay, good, go on, keep doing it, keep doing it.
Yeah, exactly. I kind of,
but yeah, I suppose again that brings us back to how important is it? So
yeah, exactly.
So I guess if a l, r, for an example, is causing the listener, wherever the listener is from, to not understand the message, then that's where the problem is, right?
Yeah. And overall, like, I think most people can understand it. The times that I'll get really intense with my students about, okay, let's fix this, we need to do this, is if they are practicing for like the TOEFL exam, because I do specialize in TOEFL preparation, and specific pronunciation is a big part of the test. And so I will, really work on the word really, because that can be tough, having the R and the L in the same word, and we'll work on that over and over and over again. But that's just for test purposes. If someone is, oh, hey, Maria, hello. If someone is not taking an exam, if they're just doing it for conversation, maybe some business English, then it's not that concerning. Then what about for you? Are there times where maybe you aren't as concerned about accent and stuff with your students?
Yeah, totally. Like, I think some students obsess over accent when it's really not important. So I was about 6 months ago, I had a session with a guy who was C2 level. So, the highest level.
Right.
And he wanted a session to brush up his English because he was going to be giving a presentation. And he also told me that he'd done a TEDx talk in English.
Wow. And so very qualified.
Yeah. So we talked for an hour, and he was saying, I'm just very concerned about the fact that I don't have a native speaker accent, and the fact that I make mistakes. And it became more of a counseling session, really, because
that's a lot of my work. Good thing I have a psychology degree,
Right.
Yeah.
So I said, well, there's nothing wrong with your accent. I can understand everything you're saying, and you're using really good intonation. You're using word stress and sentence stress and contractions and connected speech. He was really had really good pronunciation. Okay, I could tell that he wasn't British, but who cares? I don't care if he's not British. And he's done a TEDx talk. I'm not sure I could do a TEDx talk. So good on him. So I feel like some people obsess over this accent, but really what they need to do is realize what they can do. And if what you can do is give a TEDx talk in English, then you're probably doing pretty well. But even if you're not giving TEDx talks, which most of us aren't, let's be honest, Still look at what you can do. Do most people understand you when you talk? In which case, if they do, great. If there are some points where they don't understand you, then maybe you need to pinpoint what that issue is, whether it's vocabulary or whether it's accent or something else.
Right. One thing that I do wonder about, like, I have a lot of students who live in the United States and who have lived in the United States for a long time. And a lot of them will come to me and be like, no one understands me, or I get funny looks at the grocery store. And to me, their English is very clear. It's very easy to understand. And so in some cases, I wonder if maybe it's, a bit of lack of self-confidence. Because I know when I was in Korea, I would feel really nervous when I tried to speak Korean. And even if I said things correctly, some people would still answer me in English and stuff. But I wonder if it's that, or if there are just a lot of assholes out there that are being rude to non-native English speakers and pretending like they can't understand or what it is. Because I have so many students who have good enough pronunciation. It's completely sufficient. They're easy to understand. Yes, the L's and R's might be a little off, or the TH, but it's nothing that we haven't heard in movies that have actors from different places, or just in general. Like, there are so many accents in the United States. It's a big old melting pot, and still some people just are maybe being really rude, and that's awful. That's my concern.
Right. I think you're right. I think people need to recognize that, English is this international language, and as such, that there are going to be different accents, and native speakers don't own English, don't own the rights to the accent or the rights to how it works. It's an international thing. Gina,
we might have frozen.
You guys are frozen.
We're frozen. Okay, I don't know what's going on. Are we back? No, we're not back.
No.
Okay.
How did you hear that, Gina? If we're not back, maybe.
Okay. So I messaged her, "Are we back?" and she said no. So.
Oh, I see. Right.
Message. Okay. Let's try. Still frozen, but can you hear us? How about this? We will restart. So everyone hang tight. To me, it's normal. Okay, so Gina, it's your internet. Thanks, Vitor. We appreciate it. Okay, great. Anyways, yes. Yeah, so, but yeah, like you were saying, there are some people that are like gatekeepers almost, like with language, and they're just being awful about it.
Let it go. Let it go. It's not your language. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know what you mean though about feeling that pressure, and when you are learning a language, and I totally understand like where my students are coming from. Like, I have the opposite problem in French, in that my French accent is quite good.
Right.
But my actual knowledge of French is not so good. So when I start speaking, people are like, oh, your French is great. And I have to be like, no, it's really not. Yeah. Because then they start speaking to me really fast.
Right.
And I'm like, whoa. You've misunderstood.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, no, my French sucks. All I can say in French is I cannot speak French. That's it.
I'm sure we'd all like to hear that.
4 years of taking French class in public school. Yeah, it wasn't great. Woo! Public school kids. Yeah, but I think things are definitely changing in terms of accent with the younger generations. I don't know if you've taught very many young people, but for me, all of my students that have been younger have the best pronunciation. It's insane. I had a 10-year-old today, 10 years old, and we were reading The Economist.
Wow, like, you really know how to have fun in your classes, Cami.
Yeah. Oh, okay. It was an article about Disneyland in The Economist. But still, she was like, what are acquisition mergers? Well, let me just... an acquisition merger is... And like my teenagers do have really good accents, so, or really clear kinds of accents, really good pronunciation and fluency. So I think for younger generations, because they have grown up with, you know, full access to social media, movies, every kind of media, I think the concern about accent for them is not as important. They don't seem to be as concerned about it because they have great accents anyways. Whereas my older students tend to struggle a little bit more with pronunciation because they haven't been around them, or, you know, they haven't been as exposed to it. But what about you? What have you noticed in terms of age with your students?
Coming back to age in a second, I've just noticed that my good friends Quigley Family Home have joined. Hi, Quigley Family Home. So they might have an interesting thing to say, because I grew up with Chris Quigley, and we grew up in the UK.
Quigley.
Sorry?
Quigley. That's a fun name. I like that.
I think it's Irish.
It is. I don't know.
But yeah, it's a lot of fun. That's why he's my friend. I like saying his name.
Just his name. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
So he now lives in Canada with his wife, who is Canadian, and they have 3 kids who are growing up in Canada.
Ooh.
So what question? Chris, if that's you, I don't know which member of the Quigley family this is watching. Have you encountered any accents? I don't know. Any comments on your accents since living in Canada, positive or negative? We'd like to hear. Or if that's Gillian, have you noticed any comments when you were living in London? Or has anyone commented on your accent changing? I'd like to let us know. Send us a message.
Frank, you as well. My husband just popped back in. Frank.
Oh, hey.
How
Frank.
do people has anyone said anything about your accent? Hello, mocktail miss. Why mocktail? I think I'd like a regular cocktail. It's a Saturday night. Come on. Let's jazz it up.
It's a Sunday morning for me.
Okay, yeah, no mocktail. Well, then you should have a mocktail.
I'll have the mocktail.
I'll stick with the cocktail with my teas, you know. But yeah, with accents, moving in different countries, and like I said, even just regions within the country. So when you travel around the UK or have been to other parts, have people commented and been like, are you from the South? Because we do that here.
It's not really an issue. It's not an issue in the UK. I think it's more of an issue if you've maybe if you've got a really strong regional accent, like if you've got a strong Liverpool accent or a strong Newcastle accent, and you're not living in Newcastle, then you might get a passing comment. But really, because the UK is quite small, you will find people with different accents in different cities, and that's it's a pretty normal thing. Right. So it's not really something that people comment on much.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So with your friend the Quigley family, who hasn't commented back yet, so you said they have kids. Have you heard how their kids speak? Like, do their children have, you know, slight British accents, or do they have full Canadian accents?
From my perspective, they have full Canadian accents.
Oh. Yeah.
But Chris has completely kept his British accent,
right.
even though he's now a Canadian citizen. He's been over there for quite a while now.
Yeah.
And I think it's funny how some people very quickly pick up an accent when they go to a different place, whereas I don't. Like I've lived in lots of different places, and I don't think my accent changes. You said yours did with y'all.
Yeah. I felt like it was a bit of a survival technique, though, because I was not doing, no one wanted to talk to me at my place of work. So I had to change how I spoke for work purposes. Yeah. And it is something that I wonder about, like with my future kid, whatever, if they're going to have any kind of Korean accent, or if they'll speak in a different way, because I mean, my husband's been here for 5 years, but he still has an accent, and that's fine. And I tell him all the time, it's fine. It doesn't matter if he has one. He's easy to understand. But yeah, I'm just curious, or if we move, we'll be moving this summer. I don't know where. If we were to move to like Wisconsin, will my child have a Wisconsin accent? I don't know.
Is that a bad thing? I'm not sure what a Wisconsin accent is.
The only thing that I really know about the Wisconsin accent is they say Wisconsin, and just like the O's and stuff are a little more nasally. So it's, yeah, I don't know much about it, just that there is one. So yeah, with kids, again, like I was saying, they pick things up so quickly. So who knows what they'll be like. And yeah, I notice a lot of my teenage girls, because I do have a lot of teenage girl students, they speak kind of like the Kardashians.
Okay.
From media. Everything. Yeah.
I think, going back to what you were saying about age and accent, I totally agree that the students that I'm meeting now who are early 20s, studying for the IELTS test, because that's what I do a lot of, and they do tend to have really good accents, and occasionally I ask them, you know, where have you studied English, and often it's just from YouTube, from growing up watching Friends, or watching whatever's on How I Met Your Mother. Yeah. That's how
what are your thoughts on Friends? I don't like Friends. I think it's outdated. I'm
40. I watched Friends the first time round when it was the 90s. I don't know about you. Are you watching it second time round, or were you there for the OG Friends?
I was there, but my family didn't have cable, and my mom didn't let me watch TV after 8 o'clock, and Friends was on at 8 o'clock. So I watched a few reruns, but even then, I was never the biggest fan of it. So when I recommend shows to my students, I recommend like The Office, The American Office.
The Office is great. I love The Office. I've watched all of The Office 3 times. The American Office 3 times 3.
Yes.
Have you seen the British Office as well?
It has Ricky Gervais, right?
Yeah.
He's a bit jarring. I have a hard time watching him. Yeah.
Fair enough. But I mean, it is the original Office, so it's worth a watch.
Yeah.
And you can watch it in an afternoon. It's only 6 hours.
Yeah, I don't have time. I don't have any time in my day. I watch Netflix when I eat lunch and when I eat dinner, and other than that, I'm working on something. So,
anyway,
maybe,
in answer to your question, Friends, I think series like 1 to 4 I enjoyed, and then I lost interest.
Yeah. So a lot of my students will ask me for show recommendations or series or movies and stuff. I generally recommend The Office, the American version, because I find the content to be more relatable. Like for adults working in an office, the characters are all relatable. it has office business English, not too far, you know, like suits and stuff like that. I think that can be a little confusing, but with the office, I think it's, you know, useful daily conversation type English. And I'm biased because I like it as well. So I usually recommend that. What about you? What do you recommend to your students?
I think it's great to recommend things that you like. There's no point recommending something that you think is boring. Like, what's the point of that?
Everyone recommends Friends. I don't recommend Friends. I think it's outdated, and some of the things that they say in it, I'm like, maybe don't sound like Joey. Because I have had male students that will speak like Joey, and I'm like, yeah.
It's important to recognize that they're caricatures, isn't it? Yeah, I think that's a really good shout, actually, The Office. I don't know, students don't generally ask for recommendations. I don't watch a lot of TV series, I watch a lot of films. So if students want to get into talks about films, then I'm always in the mood for a film chat. So I've got lots of film recommendations, but then I watch quite sort of weird films. So
one of those indie films.
I don't know how to explain it. Weird films. But then I also did watch Snakes on a Plane the other day, just to keep it a bit more mainstream.
Yeah. When you say weird films, is it like low budget or like A24 films?
So I only found out this expression the other day. A24 is a production company.
Yes.
Is that right? Okay. Yeah. A24 is fine, easy watching. But then the other week I watched a Swedish sci-fi thriller set in space, existentialist, weird film, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah. So I don't think I'm going to take film recommendations from you. Just, I watch a lot of reality shows on Netflix at this point. It's either that or true crime. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, so for me, a lot of my students are also learning like daily conversations. So that's why I'll recommend series and stuff. And I generally strongly suggest them to watch movies and shows, to practice their English. What about you? Is that a resource that you'll often recommend?
Yeah, I think any input that you're getting is great. And different people like different things. So if podcasts are your thing, great, do podcasts in English, but choose something that interests you. Same with series or films, do it, but choose something that interests you. And ideally have someone to talk to about what you've watched,
right?
Because that's what we do in real life, right? We watch something and then we either tell someone about it or discuss with someone about it. So if you can arrange to watch something with someone, or arrange to watch the same thing and then get together and discuss it, I think that's super useful, because that's real life using English.
Right. Yeah. Welcome. Someone else is here. I recently have found myself suggesting students to not just watch YouTube, because I know a lot of people will just watch YouTube, like just educational YouTube and stuff. And I've realized, like, while that's a great learning resource, a lot of the times it's just one person speaking. And so you don't get that back and forth learning the flow of conversation. So I know for myself, I generally try to, get students to watch maybe more series or podcasts where there's, two people speaking, or a group of people, rather than just the talking head kind of YouTube videos, because I think that's good for gathering information, but not so much for practicing.
And
from my perspective.
yeah, I know what you mean. And also on YouTube, I think what's really popular is those 3-minute talk show clips of, let's say, James Corden or Jimmy Kimmel says to Miley Cyrus, "Oh, so we hear that you had a funny time with Bruce Springsteen," and then she goes off on a monologue, which is really kind of well rehearsed and really hits all the beats linguistically of this is how you tell a story, but it's very formulaic and it's not very natural. It's fun to watch. You can definitely learn some stuff from it.
Yeah.
But it's not very natural.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I always try to have my students learn and absorb as much as they can in a more natural way, because also, like, when we're babies and kids, that's how we learn. We don't learn from watching a YouTube video. We learn from being in the environment and just listening to it, and to me that's the most intuitive way to learn. And I mean, also that's kind of my teaching method, because like I mentioned before, I studied psychology and childhood development, and part of what I studied was language acquisition. And yeah, you weren't putting a grammar book in front of a baby. Most of us don't know our own grammar rules for our native language. Like, I learned so much when I became certified to teach English. And I think just, acquiring language through just natural practice, to me, is the best way. Of course, for, an exam, you need to know the certain rules, but for daily conversation, just talk. Get it out.
Right, and it's really good to be able to talk to students and find that point where they know what they want to say, they're looking for the word and they can't quite find it, and that's where my role is to fill that gap and say, okay, this is the word, or this is the grammar that we need here. And that's such a great way to learn emerging language, or emergent language. It's a really great way to learn language, because it's very memorable.
Yeah. So for me, I would say most of my students are probably B1 and higher. I have had a few like A2 students, like upper beginner, but most of mine I would say are intermediate-ish and higher. What about you? What do you kind of specialize in with your students in terms of their level?
I specialize with IELTS preparation. And so generally students are B1 or higher, because there's not much point taking the IELTS test if you're lower than B1. So at the moment, well, it's not gonna do much for you. It's not gonna get you into any countries or universities. So I work with students who are higher level at the moment, but I've worked with all different levels and all different ages. So I think working online, perhaps beginner students are a bit more wary of working online, and being one-to-one. That's maybe quite intimidating as a beginner student. But yeah, I'm open to all levels and ages as well. And how about you? You do TOEFL prep, and
I do talk. Yeah.
What are your main other things?
So TOEFL prep, a lot of daily conversation is just conversation practice. Like I mentioned, I have a lot of students living in the United States that just want to become comfortable speaking with native English speakers. I also do a lot of writing help. And so hello, Amir. When I do that, like we kind of do a whole reading, pronunciation, grammar lesson all in one. I have them read it out loud again, and then we go through and talk about here's why we need to fix these things. Here's how we could improve it. Here's how we can make it better. So yeah, a lot of writing help, job interview preparation.
Okay.
So yeah, I do a lot more kind of daily usage sorts of English stuff, as well as TOEFL prep, but the TOEFL is a little bit more seasonal. Like right now I'm starting to get some more people practicing for the TOEFL because they want to take it this summer so that they can, you know, apply for graduate school in the fall. But I don't always have TOEFL students every season, just because it's generally for university applications.
Right, I see.
Yeah. Thanks, Gina, with the resume writing. We have a big, so I will be making a YouTube video soon. I'm in the whole process of that, of a resume revamp.
Okay.
So I help people like with the whole job process, cover letters, resumes as well, and just how to make it better, how to optimize it, make it look nicer.
I might need some help with that, so I'll tune in for that one for sure.
You have Canva. I mean, that's all you need. Just use Canva.
Hey, Amir, feel free to post any questions. I think we're going to wrap up soon, though, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Oh, yeah, we have all these people coming in now. Hello.
Hey, guys.
Let us know where you're from.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you about Snap, because this was a thing that came up in our conversation, right?
Yeah.
That we haven't talked about this yet. So we posted pretty much the same story at the same time yesterday, advertising this live. And so I wrote in a message to Cami, Snap. And she was like, what?
What do you mean?
And I said, Snap. Snap means the same.
Yeah. So when I hear Snap, hello in Taiwan. I love Taiwan. I have a lot of students from there, and I've been there a few times. It's such a lovely country. So yeah, when I hear Snap, I think, oh, snap, which is another way to say, oh, shit. And so,
okay, I have heard it in that context. Right.
I was like, oh no, what happened? Did a bad thing happen? Like, why are you saying, oh, snap? So here for same, like if you do something at the same time, generally if you say something at the same time, we would say jinx.
We would also say jinx, but that's only if you say something at the same time.
Okay, but snap means same. Good to know. Because, I didn't know.
I know that you guys do jinx because in The Office, I think there's a scene where someone jinxes Michael. Or no, Pam jinxes Tim. Jinxes Jim.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And makes her buy him a Coke. Something like that.
Yeah, you have to say, jinx, you buy me a Coke or something. And I don't know why we always said, jinx, you buy me. Oh, my light turned off. Let me turn it back on. All of you from America. Amir, I'm from America. But, Nick is not.
Yeah, Cami's from the States. I'm from the UK, but I'm currently in Thailand, in Bangkok. Where are you from, Amir? And Julian as well. Where are you from, Julian?
We have, I'm trying to see,
I think Julian's not here anymore.
Oh, okay.
We've got Jing, Gina, Vitor, and Amir.
So, when I posted a question, like the question box on my stories, I don't think I got any questions in there. Also, I don't really know how to check if I got any questions. But what about you? Did you get any questions? Or for you guys watching, if you have any questions for us, put them in the little comment box and we'll answer them.
I threw out a poll yesterday, which was, which type of English are you learning? British English, American English? It doesn't matter, or I don't know.
Right.
British English got slightly more percentage, with I think like 36%, and then it was pretty evenly split. I think one person didn't know. A few people didn't care. Oh, hey, Ellen. That's my friend Ellen. She's in Sri Lanka.
Oh, very cool. And thank you, Amir. I don't know whose accent you're saying, but I'd like to think we both have nice accents. Everyone has a good accent, though. Right. Everyone's accent is beautiful, no matter where you're from. Yes. Yeah. And when I did a poll a few weeks ago, or not a few weeks ago, last week about is an accent important, I think like 90% of people said no, it's not. I only had 2 say it was, and one of them was my husband, so I think he was just being difficult. I think just like one person said, it doesn't really matter.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's kind of matches with our philosophies, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, Vitor, I mean, I do agree. British accents are more beautiful. In the United States, everyone thinks a British accent sounds very posh, but we probably think of like a London accent or, you know, a more Southern British accent. Yeah. American accents aren't pretty.
Oh, well, I don't know. I disagree. I think some are. I think, you know, same as in the UK. Like there are some accents in the UK that I find really nice to listen to, and some that I really don't like. And you know, I think it's kind of personal choice, isn't it, about what you like? It's beauty's in the ear of the beholder. But I think this is an interesting comment, Victoria, that British accents are more beautiful, but American accents are easier.
I get that a lot.
Why do you think people find American accents easier?
So, well, I hear from a lot of people that it's easier, and I think what they're often referring to is more like like I said, the Northwest accent, which is phonetically a little bit more similar. Adele's accent is really hard. One of my students said the same thing to me today about Adele. So I think with the Northwest accent or West Coast accent, like if you were to, you know, look at the phonetic alphabet, it is more similar. Like with the R's and the vowel sounds, it does kind of fit. From my understanding, it fits with the phonetic alphabet a little bit more. I think it's like the IPA or whatever. So maybe that's why. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah.
Yeah, the thing with Adele is that it's not just her accent, it's her personality as well, right? She's quite a chaotic character in the way that she talks, you know. She talks fast, she's got a million things going through her head, and she has a very expressive voice. So I think even, you know, I understand everything she's saying, but I wouldn't say she's an easy person to understand, because there's a lot of information coming at you and a lot of false starts to her sentences. And so I think, yeah, it's not just about accent with her.
I never really noticed that with Adele, because to me a British accent just automatically sounds more calm. Or like her accent, like your accent, I can't imagine you ever sounding stressful, because to me you have a very like smooth, relaxing almost voice. And when I hear Adele in interviews, I'm like, Wow, that's my chair. I just
Are
want
we
to put that
talking
out
about
there.
the same Adele, the
We're
singer?
talking about the same Adele. I mean, she seems, to me, it's like maybe she's a little scatterbrained, but I don't know. When I hear a British UK type accent or something similar to hers, I'm like, oh, wow, that's relaxing. But now I'm realizing that other people can't understand her. Okay.
Maybe watch like her getting an award where she's like flustered and she's not as well prepared or calm as in an interview.
Right.
And then she's maybe a bit more difficult to understand.
Okay.
What's Victor saying? Some sounds in American it's easier for me. I'm Brazilian. Like water in American accent, the T sounds like our R, so it's easy. How British say it is more difficult for us. Yeah, so we were talking about this earlier, Victor, and how some it just depends on where you're from in Britain.
Yeah.
But also it depends on how I'm saying it. So I will often say water. But then if I'm speaking fast or in a different situation, then I might drop that T. I need some water, possibly. I mean, that didn't sound very natural then, but but I think I would.
Right. I mean, I find myself making T's into D's a lot. So I don't say water, it's water.
Water.
Like I said earlier, I saw the funny thing. I bought my daughter a bottle of water. And it was very different with the British accent.
I bought my daughter a bottle of water.
Yeah, I bought my daughter a bottle of water. Now that's me kind of over-exaggerating a little bit with the R's. But yeah, I think it's just different. Again, it depends on who you're listening to and where they're from in the United States.
And I think it comes back to what we said earlier of as long as you're being understood, don't focus too much on having an American accent or a British accent. It doesn't matter, and there's no such thing as an American accent or a British accent because there are so many different accents. Right?
Yeah. Like Jonathan, he was messaging me because I had done my American versus British English thing, and he was like, well, what's American? I'm American. I'm from Canada, but we say things differently. And I was like, oh, shit. Yeah, because Mexico's in America. There is South America. That's another America. So I'm trying to specify more, U.S. American accent or something, because it's more specific than that. I'm not going to start putting on my post Seattle U.S. American accent, but it's definitely there are distinct differences. Yeah, I don't want to be that niche. Okay. So Amir says, I agree with you. The British accent is difficult, but American accent is easy.
Can I ask you a question, Amir? When you say British accent, do you mean an accent like mine?
Or like a Cockney accent or something. Right. I don't know.
Give us a yes or a no. Do you mean an accent like mine? Do you think of my accent as a British accent? There's a really good website that people can use called ELLLO.org. I've never known whether it's pronounced Ello or ELLLO. But it says hello. I'm Adele. Thanks for the award.
Yep. So, okay, I have it open. So what are the different things on ELLO.org?
ELLO is a listening, I think it stands for English Listening Language Library or something online. And it has loads of people from all around the world, all speaking English, but with different accents.
Oh.
So you might have, and some of them have videos, some of them are just audio. Hey, Joyce. And yeah, so you can hear a person from Peru speaking to a person from New Zealand about their favorite food. And so you can hear these two different accents in English speaking. It's really, really useful for just tuning your ear to different accents.
It is under construction right now. I just checked the website, and
it's always under construction.
It's just under construction. I don't know what's going on with it, but
they reconstruct that website every 3 months or so. I don't know why. They can't decide on what format they want, but it is good.
I'm feeling like that with my website. I'm like, God, I just made my website a few months ago, and I already hate it, and I want to change it and make it completely different. All the same information just configured.
Where can we find your website, Cami?
My website, thanks for the plug, is camitheenglishcorner.com. Yep, for the Cami's English Corner family. On Instagram, I am Cami S, the English Coach, but for YouTube and my website, it is Cami's English Corner. And then for the podcast, which I'm trying to get up and running, it's on Google, iHeartRadio, and Amazon podcasts right now. It's Unfiltered English Corner. So
that's a lot of stuff.
It is a lot of stuff. I'm an all-in bitch, you know, like if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. Also, my husband was like, you know, oh, you should start making YouTube videos. Oh my God, I should. And so I did that. And then he said, well, if you're going to do that, you need to advertise them on YouTube. So then I did. And then he said, you know, to be a real professional, you need to have a website. Okay, yes, I'll do the website. And then the podcast thing's easy. I just re-upload my stuff onto the podcast. But yeah, it's a lot. And what about for you? Where can people find you?
Well, I'm now thinking of changing Learn English with Nick to I'm an all-in bitch, because I think that would be a much catchier handle.
But
we'll see.
An all-in bitch?
I don't know. Maybe I need to work on me first. And, don't worry, Amir. You didn't offend anyone. That's okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Yeah. It's. No, Amir. We hear these kinds of things all day from people about accent.
No offense taken. We thought we would talk about accent because it's something that people talk about a lot. But it's nice. It's nice to know that you love both.
Yeah.
That's great.
Thanks, Amir.
And where can people find me? People can find me on this Instagram, Learn English with Nick. If you go to my bio, it's got a link to my italki page where you can book lessons with me. And also just DM me if you're interested in lessons. You can book straight with me without going to italki. Send me a message. I haven't got as much stuff as you, Cami. I'm lazier than you.
Yeah. Well, you know, my husband's a graduate student. We don't have time to go out and do stuff anyway, so I'm just here in the middle of rural Texas. Might as well do all the things. But yeah, for lessons with me, on my website, you can find a booking link. And so I mostly teach via like Google Meets and stuff. If someone wants to book a lesson with me and they don't have access to Google Meets, like if they're living in China or something, then, you know, I can do a Zoom call if they want to send me a message, like DM me or email me. But yeah, I do schedule through my website. So I have a whole booking page and stuff. So definitely check that out. And Joyce and I actually just had our first convo last night, and she is lovely. Joyce and her husband, so they're so nice. Thanks.
Nice fun. It's always good. It's always good to meet new students, I think.
Yes. Yeah. Definitely.
Keeps the job interesting. Keeps things exciting. Meeting new people. I really like it. So for you, since you've been teaching online, do you have like a rough estimate for how many students you have met? Because with the platform I was teaching on, it actually kept track
of all the students, and it
Yeah,
blows my mind.
my platform does keep track, but I can't remember. I think it's about 300.
Okay.
But I split my time between, I do italki, and then the other half of my time is doing teacher training. So I kind of have I have periods where I'm doing lots of italki teaching, and then sometimes when I'm taking a break from it. But I think I'm around the 300 mark at the moment.
Okay. How long have you been teaching on? I mean, I've been teaching on the other platform for almost 4 years now. So, but also so it's on Cambly, and I don't love Cambly. That's why I'm, doing my own thing now. So over 1,000, I know that. I have spoken to over 1,000 students.
Wow. Okay.
But the Cambly system is different. It's not like italki. Someone can call and then hang up after a minute and just kind of cycle through tutors, like chat roulette.
Right, okay.
So I don't know how accurate my number is, but over 1,000. But well, different platform. Yeah.
Different ways.
So people from all over the world, for sure.
Nice. And I think that's one of the, so I got sort of dragged kicking and screaming into online teaching when everyone else got dragged back to their homes in March 2020.
That's when you started. Okay.
Yeah, but now I really enjoy it, and I'm trying to embrace online teaching because I really enjoy it. So
next time,
I can't remember.
Let's talk about our teaching journeys. I think that would be great. Topic for next Tea Time with Nick and Cami, our teaching journeys, because from creeping on your bio, looking at your certifications and stuff, we've definitely had different routes to come to where we are now. And like you said, with, the pandemic making you, having to teach from home. I was already teaching from home, but I think next time, let's talk about our teaching journeys. Thank you, Joyce, again. Look forward to chatting next weekend. And
maybe we could ask for some student journeys as well to compare to our teacher journeys.
Yes, so we can brag about our students, because you can see on my page I have every Tuesday I like to post little student testimonials and stuff talking about my students, because I love all of them. All the ones that I currently talk to or that I'm posting about.
Particularly Joyce.
Especially Joyce. Joyce and Giovanni are the best. They're my absolute favorites right now. Yes. So next time, for anyone who's watching, we will talk about our teaching journeys. And of course, send us DMs or different comments with any questions that you'll have, because we'll answer anything. So I think, thank you, Joyce. So I think, we should probably wrap it up, because this has been a very long chat.
It has.
So,
but a very enjoyable one.
Yes, it has. Always a pleasure to chat. So cheers for now. And Jan, that's Korean. Yep. So I will see you later. Have a good night and good day to everyone, whatever time zone you're in.
Good
Bye.
day. Good night. Bye. Bye. Bye.